Welcome back to the Win with Dice podcast, a podcast featuring members of the Win with Dice team. I'm Calvin, and I'm joined here by Ramon.
Hey guys, your first time listening to the Win with Dice podcast. This podcast is all about tabletop RPGs. Calvin and I like to take a casual approach to the hobby. So like on this podcast, we just like to talk about the games that we run, the games that we play, and the cool, wonderful people that we get to enjoy the hobby with. If you are new to tabletop RPGs, what are you doing? Go find yourself a table and go have some fun. And if you are a player at someone's table, maybe it's your turn to, jump behind the GM screen and take that for a spin.
Indeed. So this week, this is going to be our first podcast of 2024. So first off, Happy New Year, everybody.
Yeah. Happy New Year, folks.
So our plan is to do basically our yearly tradition where we get into things we did in the channel this year, talk about our plans for the next year, and then we hold ourselves accountable for the things we said we would do in 2023 and whether we succeeded or didn't at those particular things. I've written a bunch of stuff down. I went back and listened to the episode, so there's a lot we have to answer for.
Oh man, I definitely failed this class, I'm pretty sure.
Well, before we get into all of that admonishment, we have to get to the most important part of the show. The Win with Dice weekly GM tip of the week.
Yes, the Win with Dice weekly GM tip of the week, brought to you by me. As the theme of this podcast is me facing up to all of my promises and obviously not holding myself accountable. Don't sweat it, folks. If you had a bunch of game plans, or maybe your campaign was supposed to wrap up this year and it didn't, or you didn't get enough games in, don't worry about it. Life is hard, and you don't really know what the year is gonna hold, right? So don't beat yourself up on anything. I guess it's kind of like more like a life lesson. Set goals, but don't beat yourself up if you don't meet them. They're just a marker of progress, and anything that you're working towards is good. So yeah.
Yeah, I definitely need that because I sort of fell off of GMing towards the last couple of months of the year, and I want to get back on that horse. I don't know. My brain was not working with me for those last couple of months, and I had some stuff I really wanted to run. So hopefully I'm able to get the juices flowing again in January and all in 2024. But yeah. And I think we said something similar last year, just even if things don't work out the way what you want them to immediately, especially with tabletop, you can always come back to those ideas or reuse those ideas.
Yeah. Any unfinished story just means that you get to pick it back up right when you get everybody together again, right? So don't worry about it. Life just happens, and the whole point is to actually just enjoy the time with your friends and get those good vibes going.
Exactly. All right, well, let's get into this year-end episode of the Win with Dice podcast. Now, as we did last year, I want to get into basically, we'll start off with some basic analytic stuff, and then we'll get into all the things we did this year. As far as our analytics go, I think we did pretty strong this year. Looking at our numbers, our subscriber count is over 500, which is one of the things I did want to do, so that is a good sign. We got 156 subscribers this year, which is 30% more than we got in 2022. We had 5.4 thousand hours of watch time, which is ridiculous, and also 8% higher than it was in 2022. And the biggest thing for this year, and we'll probably get into why as we continue to talk about what happened this year, we had 53.2 thousand views on the channel, which is 143% higher than it was in 2022.
Yeah, that's a lot. Well, I mean, thanks, guys. Really appreciate all the views and, you taking time out of your day to, catch the podcast or, watch Calvin play some video games. And, we really appreciate it. As far as I think this channel is just a place for Calvin and I to connect, and for us to connect to you guys and just actually just enjoy and talk about the hobby. Like, I really think the podcast, most of it is just flim flam of us just hanging out, and we love to hang out with you guys. So really appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm really, I'm glad our numbers are so much higher. I like how the channel is like, if you look at it broadly overall, I like how the channel is just doing very well. It feels like I like how everything's sort of increasing in that way. Looking at our top videos, once again, and this was the same thing it was last year too. Our top video is still the first session of the Lancer actual play stream. That's always going to get views, I think, just because it's the first episode of a Lancer stream and there aren't that many out there. But it still bugs me because I know on every level we can do better.
I know. It's actually really stressful because I don't think I actually want to stream my games online anymore, but everybody wants it. I love to talk about it, but I think like it's the production. Personally, the production is stressful, and I just want to like run a game. So maybe in the future we'll do a one shot or something. But like, I don't know, man. If you want something super entertaining, super vibrant, just go to to Shaka's channel and watch any of his stuff, the Ukua Station. His stuff is golden. Like you don't need me to run stuff.
No, man, people want to see it. I mean, obviously, people want to see it. But additionally, all of our top 10 videos are basically everything is either a Lancer thing, because we have our Lancer character creation in there. We have one of the Lancer episodes of the podcast in there, and then a bunch of shorts. Which is something that is pretty recent to the channel. They happened in waves, kind of. One towards the start of the year, and then one towards like the fall part of the year. And I guess I can get into this a bit, because I do want to get into shifting from the analytics. I want to get into things we did and things we talked about this year. And one of the big things was shorts, which really didn't start doing at least significantly until 2023. And those are where a lot of the views are coming from. Not a lot of watch time, obviously, because they're all under 60 seconds. But yeah, the channel, again, it's got a whole lot of views this year, and a lot of that is just from these shorts, like these vertical videos that show up on people's feeds and they can scroll, and they sometimes end up on these videos, and they are very difficult to predict, because some of them will have like a couple dozen views, and some of them will have like a couple thousand views. But yeah, it's a lot of stream clips so far. I do want to get some podcast stuff in there. I just can't really figure out how to make it look like I want to have some sort of visual element to it. But yeah, like looking at the views for the shorts, I'm kind of surprised. Like there's a Baldur's Gate one that was pretty good that I thought was pretty funny. There's this Dead Space one that has more views than it that I didn't think was as funny, but I don't know. That's how the algorithm works, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I think that shorts are really good. I know, I like them. Definitely some very funny, creative people out there doing shorts, but we should definitely put out some more shorts, just we can get those bite-sized clips. I don't actually watch your streams, Calvin, but I do like it when I get the funny moments in the shorts, so you should just do more of that. Maybe we'll hire somebody out to maybe just clip some stuff and put it into shorts. That might be a thing that we can do.
Genuinely, that would be nice, because that's the only thing that keeps me from, like, I wish we could have a short a day. I wish we could have like podcast shorts and stream shorts in just one a day. But it's a pain to like have to do them, because it's an editing process, right? I could give like a little behind the scenes, I guess, of how my process for editing shorts works. But like I'll go through the videos, and if there's something I remember, or if there's something that like sometimes I'll go back to a stream that I don't remember all of, but I see at some point someone posted a comment of like a reaction to something. So I'll find that moment. I have to download the video off of YouTube, and then I basically make the clip itself in my editing software. I use Sony Vegas, so I clip that out. And then I have to go to another website that I'm blanking on the name of, but I'm sure I'll remember at some point in the future. Streamladder, I think it is. And I upload the video there, and then that's what I have to use to make it vertical, because I don't know how to do it myself, to be honest.
Wait, what? There isn't just like a change the plane to just be a vertical video in your video editing software?
Well, I could like change the framing, but I don't know how to make it like so that it because the way I have to cut it out, I have to cut out like my face from the top right, and then basically the middle of the video, and I don't know how to get both of those on the same thing in my software. I mean, there's probably a way to do it. I just don't know how to do it. So
Yeah, that's fair, I guess. I mean, just a suggestion. You should just pan between like whatever's happening to your reaction, like just snap back and forth. That would be a lot easier than uploading it to somewhere else and
that's
stuff.
genuinely that would be more work, because like once I do the edit in Vegas, I just put it in there, and then I just say like, here's the one part, here's the game part, and it renders it out.
Okay.
And it's I find that just way easier, to be honest. Maybe I'll see if there's a way to do it in the editing software, because then I could probably get it in like a higher resolution. But I mean, I haven't really had an issue with the resolution so far, so I don't know if it's solving a problem that doesn't exist yet.
Fair enough. But yeah, probably more shorts in the future, I guess, if Calvin figures out that workflow to be better.
Yeah. Like, again, I want to have like podcast shorts. That was on my list of things. Because I wanted to take like the tip of the week section, because it's usually pretty short, and then just make that into like a less than 60-second video and publish that. I just couldn't figure out like what sort of visual element to put there, because I didn't want to have like just a regular scrolling background. I was experimenting with like different kinds of subtitles, but I didn't really have anything satisfying, I guess, yet. I mean, if there's people in the audience who have ideas, feel free to post them.
Well, I mean, that's the next thing I was thinking about doing. We should probably start doing video podcasts, but that's like a whole bunch more editing, I think. But might be we can probably just use some stock photos, I think. I think stock images would work really well. I like some of those stuff when people are talking about something different, but they just use like stock photos. So like,
Maybe,
or like not
yeah.
like stock images or like stock recordings, but just as long as they're good and they're kind of into it, like. Definitely the corporate ones. I think the corporate ones are funny because sometimes we're just not talking about anything like that, and I think that might work out better. So yeah,
Like some sort of stock or like B-roll footage. Yeah, maybe. That's something worth looking into. Yeah.
Anyway, yeah.
But yeah, shorts, something that were pretty significant on the channel. Additionally, I feel like this year we sort of talked about news a bit more. And one of those things, at least the major thing, of course, was the whole OGL crisis at the beginning of this year in January, where people were wondering, especially people who were making D&D related content, they were wondering, how long am I going to own this content? How long am I going to be able to sell this content? And at what levels will I be able to sell this content? And, what do I own? What's not going to be, like, that whole, we had a bunch of videos on it. You know how it goes.
Yeah.
But yeah, we did cover that quite a few times because there were a whole lot of updates for it. We covered the original issue. We covered when Pasion came out with the Orc license. We came back to it when there were some updates to what WotC was doing with regards to the OGL license. Additionally, we also covered the Pathfinder 2e remaster and the release of the Rage of Elements book, as well as the announcement of Starfinder 2e. So, yeah, I think this year we covered more, I guess, news-ish items. More so, I feel like, than we did the year previously. And that is something I also want to continue doing. Just, updating on interesting books that are coming out or, events going on in the tabletop RPG space. I don't want it to be, like, just dunking on D&D all the time. Although, because that was so significant, like, we couldn't really avoid talking about it.
Well, Hasbro should just make it easier for us not to dunk on this stupid product. Like,
yeah, you're right.
yeah. So, I mean, it's a bad thing for, I don't know, D&D content creators, I guess, because of all this stuff going on around it. But I think that, I think Matt Koval said it probably somewhere because he's obviously said a whole bunch of good stuff. But D&D's rise in the last 10 years was actually mostly just from Stranger Things and that one show that Matt Mercer does.
The Critical Role.
Yeah, right. Those are two of the main things that propelled D&D, into the forefront of pop culture. Which is great because now there's so many people who are just love, like has been exposed and like, are interested in tabletop RPGs. But, Hasbro's like, oh yeah, that's totally because we did a good job with this product. But that's not the case at all, right? It was just that, these things reignited people's, passion for the hobby. And it's not necessarily that, your product is good. It's just that it was the product that was there, right? Like,
yeah, I can see that. Yeah. It's I don't know. I mean, like I'm hoping people are still, because especially with like on D&D Beyond, I know a lot of people dropped that website, and I'm hoping people are still able to play D&D without having to pay WotC. I don't know how many people are still doing that, but hopefully that's something they're still capable of.
Yeah, I think that you can actually, you don't have to buy anything from WotC anymore if you don't want to, because you could do a lot with just the core rule books, right? And a couple of different stuff, and redoing old adventures. There's just like so much history with tabletop RPGs that you can just take whatever and with whatever system and make it work. As well as like, I hope that people branch out and go look at smaller tabletop RPGs or try out different things, and maybe not convert your current campaigns or whatever, but just try out some new stuff. I think that there is just so much tabletop RPGs out there that people might just like, and they just don't, because they just think D&D is it. Right? Some people just actually just don't know, which is maybe something I should probably put on. Well, we'll talk about it later, but
sure.
I think I know what I'm going to do for next year.
Yeah, like I know Critical Role, like they have their own publishing arm where they're publishing like games. They had a tabletop game that they published a couple months ago. I wasn't really into the setting, but I'm sure people are into it. I haven't really listened to it myself personally. I'm like a year behind on watching Critical Role episodes as well. So.
Yeah, I know that I think MCDM has just wrapped up their Kickstarter for their unnamed tabletop RPG.
Did they wrap it up already? I thought that just launched.
It was like maybe it's still going. I think it was over. I don't remember. I don't know if I basically picked it up on the first day and just kind of like, all right, whatever. I got it. I stopped thinking about it. But if it's still on while you're listening to this, go check it out. If it's something that you're interested in. I mean, they put a lot of videos talking about it and like a lot of the development work, and like it sounds actually something that I want to play. I might, if the campaign is still going with like Pirate Campaign, I might transition everybody over to this game, because it sounds kind of how I'm playing right now. Where Pathfinder is good, but it's like I with that group specifically, I throw in a lot of rules because we're just kind of there to have some fun, and I don't need all of the nitty grittiness of Pathfinder sometimes to because no one else cares about it, right? So why would I use it?
Fair enough. If it's still active, I'll have a link to it below for people to check out.
Yeah.
And I can link to Critical Role's new RPG as well if people are curious about that. But yeah, we did cover a whole lot of stuff. Speaking of systems, one of the things we covered this year is Grand Saga, as well as more recently Living Legend, or whichever name you want to apply to either of those. But I think we really started talking about Grand Saga like in earnest this year, where we had a bunch of videos on classes and gameplay and mechanics and things like that.
Yeah. The whole experience of writing a tabletop RPG and trying to get that off the ground. It's fun, but also tough. Like it's definitely something that's tough. And obviously anybody who's aspiring to make a tabletop RPG or like develop anything in general, keep at it, dude. It's long, it's hard, but it's definitely fun and rewarding. I think there's, I don't know, I think the problem I have with development is that I have so many ideas and like I feel like things are constantly changing, so I need something to ground me a little bit, or else I'll just be like, oh yeah, this needs to be tweaked, and then like I change it, and then 2 months later be like, it needs to be tweaked again.
Yeah,
that kind of deal. So yeah, I mean that's kind of how I started working on the second tabletop RPG, because all the changes I was trying to implement in Grand Saga, I was like, you know what, I don't think I need to mess around with this. This feels like a totally different thing. So, I'll just work on something else with these ideas.
Yeah, just put them into like a different project. Yeah,
Yeah.
I am curious, like if like I mean, what your future plans for that may be, but I think we can get into that when we get into the 2024 stuff. Because I do want to see where you go with Grand Saga. I do want to see like if you want to put something out for it next year, or if you feel like you're going to still be in development with it. But I guess we'll see when we get to that section. But in and of the game itself, like I already spoke on what I liked about the system, and I hope people have been, checking out those episodes and hearing us talk about the game itself. And we did go into like I think at least 1 or 2 recaps of running a game in that system. And yeah, like I want to like have other people get their hands on it, because I like the character creation in that system. So I want to see other people try it.
Yeah, for sure. And we could get into that into our what we're gonna plan on doing for next year. But we still haven't talked about the things that we failed at doing this year, or at least I have.
We're getting there. There's a list. Don't worry.
No, Calvin.
So another thing that we did do this year, as I was going through the old videos, was Dungeon 23, and this is gonna come back to bite me later. The whole building a mega dungeon over the course of a year, by building 1 room a day. I did put up like a couple videos on it at the beginning of the year. I think I'll come back to that in detail as we come to the what our original plans for 2023 were. But that did not last as long as I would have liked. I'm not super stressed about it, because my intention for that was always to be a bit more lax, but I can get into that more in detail. What I did want to talk about, though, is all the like RPG campaign stuff that we talked about this year. For one thing, there was the Quest of the Fateseer campaign that I've been running, sort of finishing off that, and then starting a new arc in it, basically, and adding a new player, which sort of really created like this new dynamic. And I wish I could have gotten myself together a bit more so we could have another session in this year, but hopefully it'll come back stronger next year. But yeah, it sort of added a fun new energy that I'm really excited for the next part of this campaign. There was also the Unintended Consequences campaign, which we got into the end of this year. And that was, one of my favorite games to be in. Tim is one of my favorite GMs. Just introducing, I think, just among the best plot twists I've been a part of, and learning some elements of the actual motivations of the villain of that campaign. Or antagonist, I should say. I don't know if villain is too strong a word to use.
Yeah, no, that was a crazy campaign, and I really appreciate all the efforts Tim put into it, and all of the fellow adventurers we lost along the way.
Yeah.
Which I think was the worst and best moments of that campaign.
Yeah, what happened to Slider was definitely a top tier moment.
Oh man, R.I.P. to all of them. Yeah.
There was also, we did talk about the Cadfail Adventuring Academy. We had one of them I think at least one of them this year, where we broke out of detention. We talked about the pirate campaign this year, where we had that big fashion fight. And then the 4-way boat battle with like 4 different factions fighting on one boat, and there's being too many people on my boat as per usual. I started another new campaign, the Rule of Coin campaign, trying to do something more grounded and urban, which I'm also excited to get back to. And recently I ran a game on the Untold Stories Project channel. I ran a Lancer game over there, which they are putting on their YouTube. So by the time this episode is out, all the episodes of that should be on their YouTube channel. And if they are, I'll have a link to them as well.
Mm-hmm. I think the first one's up. I remember seeing it. So yeah.
Ooh. So yeah, I think that might be one of the episodes we do this month, just recapping that. But yeah, we covered a whole lot of Pathfinder stuff this year. Of course, because like for me, that's just my favorite game at the moment. Is the one I like running and playing in the most. I keep thinking about Starfinder, but not running enough Starfinder. And I think when Starfinder 2e comes out, and it basically has the same feel for me as Pathfinder 2e, I'm not going to shut up about it. So...
Yeah. Hopefully when that happens, we can, I'll finish some of my campaigns, and then we can just, you can take over GMing for a little bit.
Oh gosh, when is Starfinder 2B coming out? I think 2025. I think the playtest is this year. Or
there you go.
Not this year, 2024. It's you know what I mean.
Yeah, it's 2024, but well, we'll see. Yeah, I definitely have some time, but it would be cool to play Starfinder. But yeah, it's kind of tough. Not that Starfinder isn't a bad game, but they really knocked out of the park with Pathfinder 2E, especially with the remaster stuff. And it's like just playing the game is just feels better. And we did a little playtesting of the soldier class. Alongside with the kineticists, which those games are compatible, so you can use classes between them if you wanted to. Yes. And yeah, they felt super cool, and it felt super unique because the soldier, right? Yeah. The soldier class is kind of the analog to the fighter, dude with weapon, but it felt super different and super cool to use.
Yeah. They also had the Mystic come out, and we had gone through some of these spells on that. And it's a whole bunch of interesting names and concepts as well. So there's a lot coming in that book that I think is going to make it different from Starfinder First Edition. And I mean, going back to Starfinder First Edition, it's fairly close to going back to Pathfinder First Edition, where it kind of feels like, the ideas are still fun, but I kind of prefer Pathfinder Second Edition. So I don't know. I've had a concept for a Starfinder campaign in my mind for a while now that I've been wanting to do, and we'll see if that ever manifests this year. But I mean, that is another thing I would like to do more of this year.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, before we get into our original plans, I want to get into just summing up the year. And what maybe your favorite thing on the channel was this year. Favorite thing to do or favorite thing going on. I have a couple answers if you want more time.
No, my favorite thing this year, I think, was talking about all of the campaigns. Yeah, it's fun. I don't think I ran a lot this year. I was definitely more of a player this year, so having the ability to just kind of hang out and kind of relive those character moments was really nice. And it kind of made me, I would say, enjoy doing all the recaps and stuff, because it's kind of fun listening back and remembering those moments in those campaigns. And it's different when you're a GM. I think it's really fun. It's still fun, but when you're a player and you're discovering the story for the first time, it's like, oh man, this is crazy. Definitely highlight is when we recapped the end of the Unintended Consequences campaign, the big reveal and stuff like that. That was probably my favorite episode, where we're I was just so blown away. And I that's one of the reasons why I love doing this podcast, is because I get to actually learn from all of my friends about doing cool tabletop RPG stuff, and being a better GM. And we're doing this podcast, and I think when you do a podcast, people think you're an expert, but actually, I'm just a person in the hobby too. We just like to talk and hang out, and I'm learning while you're learning, and we're all just kind of getting better at doing this thing and just having fun.
Yeah, I like to, we get to share something we enjoy doing with other people, and then they get to sort of experience that through us as well. Like people who aren't in these games, they get to hear about what's going on in them, and I'm really glad that people, like hearing that sort of thing.
Yeah.
If I had to pick a favorite channel thing this year, I think it was a lot of the stream stuff, especially getting to play different games and different series, like playing through Mass Effect, all of it for the first time, playing through the Alan Wake games and Into Control. I've talked about this on stream, but those are some brilliantly written games. They're very much the once you start getting some answers, you start getting more questions sort of thing. And I think that's just a sign of really good writing. One thing that kind of stood out for me, though, is playing games that sort of have a bit of a bad reputation, like Arkham Origins, Dead Space 3, Mass Effect 3, and just seeing them, having a fresh perspective on them, not sort of surrounded by, maybe what might have been going on when those games were coming out, and just finding what I enjoy in them. I think that really meant a lot to me. Like with Dead Space 3, like I kept hearing negative things about it, but then I played the game and like it's not as scary as the other Dead Spaces, which for me is a good thing. It's probably what people, miss a lot. But it had its own mechanics that I thought made it really stand out and made it the most interesting, like gameplay-wise for me among the series. I also really enjoyed the co-op streams, and I hope we do more of those, because I, did some crossover streams with the Untold Stories Project channel. So I'd have my face on there, and I'd have everyone else on there, and that was a whole lot of fun to do. I hope we do a bunch more of those, especially because they're streaming on YouTube now as well. So yeah, I'm looking forward to doing like a whole bunch of more Baldur's Gate stuff with them, because that was a lot of fun. Again, it's another element of just sharing something I'm enjoying doing with people who are, who enjoy seeing it.
Yeah. So yeah, that's super cool.
Now, what are the things we learned in 2023?
Oh boy.
Did you learn anything in 2023?
No.
Fair enough. Well, I'll say that I definitely picked up on the pros and cons of different type of content on the channel, shorts especially. Just seeing the sort of, they have a lot of benefit to just the straight up view numbers on the channel, obviously, but they didn't have as much impact on the subscriber count, and that is something I do want to focus on. And then the impact on watch time is, debatable, because it's a very short thing, but a lot of people are seeing it. But like, I could see the impact on just pure views, and that can bring in, like, that can have an impact on the channel as far as like the algorithm goes. I don't know how the YouTube algorithm works, but yeah, like I could see the benefit of just different kinds of things on the channel. That's what really, that was the first thing I thought of, and I was like, what did I learn that's related to the channel this year?
It's true. I learned that it's okay to be burnt out, and everything. Yeah, which is, I think that content creators and people in general, like, it's okay to be burnt out, and you don't have to feel bad about it. It just happens, and you just got to take the time you need to do what you need to do. So yeah, that's what I learned this year. Hopefully next year I won't have to say the same thing.
True. Yeah, things will be better when you have the energy to do them.
Yes.
All right, Ramon, the moment we've all been waiting for. I went back to our end of 2022 episode, and I wrote down what our original plans for 2023 were. So we're gonna see, how many of those things succeeded, how many perhaps did not. But let's get into it. The first one is to get the channel over 500 subscribers so that we could use the community tab. And we got that one.
We did it.
For sure want to get to 600 next year, but yeah, we did get over 500. As I talked about at the top with our analytics, we gained more this year than we had gained like in the previous year, if that makes sense. Like, the number we gained this year was higher than the number we gained in the previous year in 2022. So obviously, whatever is happening, it's working. So far so good. Additionally, we wanted to post shorter videos. And obviously with the shorts, that's sort of an extreme on it, but we are doing that. Some of the podcast episodes have been shorter, just less of a focus on getting it to a certain like amount of time, which I think is probably a good thing, because then we can just focus on like the topics themselves. So far, I think we've completed our resolutions. But then we get into streaming more Lancer and streaming more actual play in general, which we did not do.
We did 0 of that this year. I think I just kept pushing back the date, and then I'm like, I don't know if it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
This year was a lot of Lancer content. I think a lot of people were publishing lots of great stuff this year, and damn, bro, like, I want to play all of it, but it's like I'm just like, I'm so tired. it was a struggle. But yeah, like I mentioned previously, I'm not sure if I'm going to stream Lancer on the channel. I will want to play Lancer definitely, but I think some of the added pressures of streaming, like I might not. But we'll see about that. Maybe we'll record off and pull it up, but doing stuff live, it's a little stressful.
Yeah, that is. I mean, maybe we'll get into this in the 2024 section, but that is something we've talked about. I mean, that could be among the things we record and then edit down.
Definitely. Yeah. That's so unfortunate. Maybe Calvin can do it, although Calvin's running 5 million games because Calvin can't really say no. So
You know what's even worse is I can't say no to myself.
yeah,
that's the worst part.
Yeah. I think a schedule. You know what it is? It also too. I'm not sure. Is there more things that we have to go over on this?
Yeah, there's a lot more, man.
Oh God. Okay, let's keep going. We'll sum it up at the end.
Okay. After that, we did talk about. You had mentioned that you wanted to get some of your on hiatus games going again. The ones you mentioned specifically were. I don't think it was named this at the time, but the Pirate Campaign, which you did play more of that year. Or this year, rather. And
we did the Witch Market. We did it, boys. We did it.
But you also mentioned Ineon, the Pathfinders of Ineon.
Ooh.
Which
yeah,
you did
that
not
one
get
didn't.
to this year.
I did not. And I should give those boys what they want, which is to play their characters again. I feel so bad.
Although, to be fair, one of the playtests of Grand Saga did involve those characters and that setting.
Yeah, it did. And which I think went really well. I don't think Grand Saga is in a position to take over doing that, but I definitely appreciated everybody showing up and making their characters in the system and trying it out. But yeah, I would love to do that campaign again. I think there's obviously lots more to do, but I think I want to try and pare down like the length of campaigns now. It is crazy that Tim has completed 2 campaigns and I have yet to complete one. So that's one of the problems. Campaigns go on hiatus because they're too long. I need to shorten them and actually stick to the plan a little bit more. Yeah.
I think that's something we can both work on. Additionally, this is one for me definitely, was Dungeon 23. And as I mentioned, it was this thing where you make a mega dungeon over the course of a year, you do 1 room a day and 1 floor a month. And I think I started off pretty strong. I did like a whole lot of setup and stuff, so I could very easily make 1 room per day with this. But I ended up only getting into February 3rd. Looking back on my notes. And I'm pretty happy with the January room, or the January floor, I should say. But yeah, just as things went on, I was starting to feel pretty busy, and then it would slip my mind. And you know how it goes, you forget something once, and then you can just continue to forget it again and again.
Yeah, actually I'm interested. Maybe we should do that together. Maybe like maybe not every day you write a floor, but maybe we can both work on it or something, right? See if you could stitch a couple rooms together and like have something that's playable. I definitely I think that the reason I was a little burnt out was that I feel like I haven't really been collaborating too much this year. We're doing a lot of solo stuff, and definitely be fun to work on a project with some friends. So maybe something I think that's on the list of things. Maybe you could revive that and we could just do something together.
Yeah, that could be fun. Like, I'm already seeing people talk about Dungeon 24, and I was definitely considering doing that. Like, I really liked the concept that I came into it with, because I didn't want to do a typical fantasy dungeon. So my idea was that it was more of like a space-based thing that was dug into an asteroid, like this abandoned space station, taking a lot of Dead Space influence. So that way I could have the options of like, here are some smoother rooms with straight lines, and then here are some more wobbly, cavernous rooms, because they're dug into the like asteroid itself. So I'd have like a couple of options on what I could do, so I wasn't like limited in any specific way. I still like that idea. I would love to come back to it, but we'll see what ends up happening next year. a Dungeon 24 could be fun. A Dungeon 24 collab could be super fun.
Yeah.
And then we could start making some videos on it because, I wouldn't mind making like a short, like 5-ish. I forget how long the ones that I made here were, but like a short 5-minute video each week, or even like, I don't know, every couple of weeks or whatever. Just something like that of what the rooms are that we worked on.
Yeah, and I think the way I envision it, which we'll work on obviously, is that we do like 5 rooms a week, and then maybe we like can be held accountable during the podcast, being like, here's what we did, and then maybe we'll do every month we'll get like 15 rooms done. We can alternate or whatever, or get a couple rooms done. The point is that we're progressing, and the idea is like, again, I also, back to the original thing of the podcast, you set goals, but you don't have to do all of them as long as you're kind of working towards them like a little bit every day. I think that's the point. The point is to work on something a little bit every day, because the idea of drawing out a whole mega dungeon in one go is impossible, and you'll never do it. But working on it every day and baking it up into bite-sized chunks is a lot more reasonable.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe maybe we can talk about it like off stream, or off podcast, or off recording. I don't know off air. That's the word I'm looking for.
Yeah, sure.
But yeah, maybe we can bring something out for that. That would be fun to come back to. I also talked about doing a Starfinder solo campaign and then doing like very short episode recaps of those. Just because that was something I had seen at the time, and I thought that would be an interesting way to like, it would give me an opportunity to do some writing, which is something I wanted to do, as well as do more Starfinder stuff, which is something I wanted to do, and then do more videos, which is something I wanted to do. Did not do any of that, though. That was a thing where I did write like a lot of stuff down. I just never really sort of centered on any like specific ideas, so nothing really came of it. I do want to go back to the concepts just to experiment with it. If I can just make like 1 or 2 videos with that and see how people react to it, I think it could be fun. I would love it to be something that has like its own like set of art or whatever, and then just me doing like basically an audiobook style recap of something. But I don't know, because that's another thing that's like, I don't want to put too much stuff on my plate as well, because I have like, real life stuff to deal with.
Yeah.
But I would love to make like at least one of those videos and then see how it goes.
I think that's the problem. We have so many good ideas and not enough time to execute on any of them.
True. One thing there was a couple things we partially mentioned. One was like an audience participation tabletop stream, but I still don't know how that might specifically work. I've seen an example of that on the Doug channel, where he had like viewers of the channel, they could, as they were watching live, they could randomly join a game. And it was a very loose game that he was running. There was no like very hard and fast rule set with it. But they could like type messages in chat, and their character would say the message out loud, and then he would try his best to like do the thing they're saying to do in that message. So the rules were very loose, but it was a fun idea. But also like, I don't know if I have the energy or the audience size for that. Like, I don't think I have the energy for it. I don't think our audience is like large enough that we could do something like that.
Yeah.
But it was an interesting idea. I still don't know how we would do it, so I'm gonna say that one doesn't count. And then lastly, updating the website blog posts, which I am super behind on. I gotta get the website back up to date.
That's for sure. We should probably start posting like I should start posting all of the Tabletop RPG development docs there. That would be a good place to put it. People could just go get it, and when there's a firm update, so you're not always just like looking for it on like a YouTube video somewhere, or it's stuck in a Google Drive or whatever. Definitely want to flesh out the playtest document, just put it up there, and we'll have. I guess we should have like a forum for feedback set up, and that's definitely something I want to do in the future.
Yeah, like same. I want to have that site. Like, I want to have stuff happening on it. At the very least, it should have posts of like, episodes and streams and stuff.
Or it should have posts of that Dungeon 24.
True.
Yeah.
Oh man, you know what? That could be on the community tab if we start doing that again, because we didn't have that option at the beginning of last year.
Ooh, yeah, true.
I have it in a Twitter thread. Yeah, that could be something. Well, speaking of these ideas, Ramon, what are we going to do in 2024? This is going to be the part that we come back to at the end of the year, and we'll be like, why did we say that?
Oh man, I already regret it. I already regret doing this tradition. It's so hard. I'm so bad at it. I'm like the wind, you know. I just blow like. Yeah. Okay. All right. Straight up. I'm gonna have at least 1 to 2 sessions of Pathfinders of Inion. I'll do that. I'll start that again. You guys will hear about that campaign. I kind of miss those characters, and I kind of miss the raw, gritty, everyone fighting for their life instead of these superheroes from pirate campaigns. So let's go do that. We'll do that one.
Yeah, I was trying to keep mine simple, like things that I can achieve. I want to start Dungeon 24 again. I want to make at least one episode of that Starfinder solo recap concepts. I want to have more shorts and more like shorter videos. As far as like stuff that I could probably do, it's updating the blog posts on the website for sure. And something that I've been wanting to do for months now is as we do the podcast, we cover like a lot of different campaigns, a lot of different games and systems and things like that. And I want to get our stuff sorted into playlists. Like, I want to have all of our Lancer episodes in a playlist. I want to have all of our Pathfinder, like, certain campaign episodes in a playlist, like on the YouTube channel. I would love for that to be a category on the blog page as well, so people are on the site, they can see, like if someone wants to see, you know, I want to know, like, all the pirate campaign stuff, or all the unintended consequences stuff, because we talk about it so much. And this would be useful for us as well. Like, what happened previously, what did we talk about previously? I want to have those in playlists that people can go back to. I know I've talked about this IRL before, and I've probably mentioned it quite a few times, but I want to actually do that. That's my attainable goal for the year. I have other stuff I would love to do, and that's certainly on the list, but like, as far as the attainable goal, that's the one.
Yeah. We should do like a work on the channel hangout. That might be something we should do. Like, we hold ourselves accountable. We set aside time on and just work on the channel stuff. But maybe that's one of my goals, is to actually schedule time with Calvin to work on stuff, because we take it easy on each other a lot, and we should probably bully each other to do more things. That's my goal, to bully Calvin to do more things.
That is how we got our games going originally.
Yeah. Yeah, I want to do that. I truly plan on finishing Pirate Campaign this year. This is the year of Pirate Campaign, so
oh yeah.
You know, I want that to be over with. Not that I am upset about it. Keep going. I mean, it would go into the sunset. I would die playing this campaign, but no, it needs to end. Right? I have a big climactic, awesome cinematic battle planned, 2 years ago, and we're
really?
close. We're close to it. So
I feel like that's pretty doable, actually.
Yeah,
I think that can happen.
I would like to run Wallflower this year.
Yes, please.
Yes, I do.
I was gonna say, I don't know anything about Wallflower. I don't know the NPCs in it. Like, I don't know anything, like the NPC classes in it. I don't know anything about Wallflower. I've been avoiding it because I've been waiting for you to run it.
I know. So I will run Wallflower this year. I may not finish it this year, but definitely I want to at least run Wallflower on maybe live stream. I don't know. Probably not, but you'll definitely hear it on the recaps, and we definitely have some cool people to play with. So I want to do that. What else am I going to put myself up to the chopping block to do? Yeah, I don't know. I want to release actual documents for all the tabletop RPGs I'm playing. My plan is to, just work on one up until I release a playtest document of one of them. and then work on the other one for a while, and then switch back and forth. And hopefully by the end of the year, I will have something publishable, and you'll be able to just, get it. I'm not sure if I'm going to charge people for it. Maybe pay what you want, but I'm hoping to just have something fun, and I can say like, yo, I did it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna shoot for the stars, and I'm gonna say that I want to run a tabletop game on the channel. I haven't decided what yet. Probably Lancer or Starfinder or Pathfinder, really. So I guess basically anything. But having run a couple of games over on the Untold Stories project channel, and having run the stream software for them a few times, because I stepped in to do that for our Gemstars game originally. I think that was the first time I did it. And that was our Magical Girls in a Fantasy World game. And I stepped in to run the stream software on there. I think, again, this is me shooting for the stars, but I think I could conceivably do it. I just got to figure out like layout and players. I think those are the two biggest issues. Layout, players, and schedule, I guess. Although I put schedule under players because that's part of that issue.
Yes, scheduling and making notes. These are the two things I'm going to work on this year.
Oh, you know what? I'll give you a tip that has helped me. Is just recording it. I don't know how well you can do that with an IRL session. Maybe just record on your laptop or whatever. But recording it has helped me with notes, because then I don't have to worry about them as much in person. I'll just go back to it later and play it at 2x speed and be like, oh yeah, that happened.
Yeah, in general too, I think that like I don't have I have big steps in the plan, but getting to the plan, I feel like I always just add more stuff in the way. Like it's so strange. It's like, oh yeah, I need to get to the final boss or whatever. But it'd be kind of fun to explore these little options, and then all of a sudden it's like 5 months later, and we're like, we haven't gotten to the witch market yet, and I'm like, oh, why did I have to do all this other stuff before I was able to just get here? And to be fair, in the Pirate campaign, the witch market only lasted like 4 sessions, right? But it took us like 6 months to get there. Like it was crazy.
And that's just scheduling.
Yeah, let's just work on. Let's just do it. No more holding. We're gonna hold ourselves accountable this year, folks. Yeah. I'm gonna regret it.
That's.
But I'm gonna try and do it.
That's gonna be our phrase for the year. Let's just do it.
Let's just do it. Yeah. Oh, I also want to do. We're planning a little bit more interviews at the beginning of the year.
Oh my gosh,
so
yes.
I want to do more of those. Definitely want to talk to some lovely people. I want to talk to people. There's been so much tabletop RPG stuff that came out this year that we didn't get to talk to anybody about. We would love to, connect with some people and get some airtime with them and talk about it, especially for people who are developing new tabletop RPGs. Like, I want to pick their brain because I'm curious, because this seems crazy, and I'm surprised that they did it. Not because they couldn't do it, but because I know how hard it is.
Yes. Yeah.
So, I'm down to get some words from those guys. So.
Yeah, for sure. That's something that I like. We got to like reach out to people and actually make contact. But yes, I've been wanting to do more interviews. We did very few this year compared to the previous year. So definitely more of those.
Yeah, and possibly, we might split up the podcast to be maybe one episode might just be like recaps, the other one might be like news. Maybe we'll alternate, but I kind of want to structure the podcast a little bit more, kind of feeding it into, the idea of separating those things into playlists to make it easier. But I kind of want to focus down the podcast because normally we'll talk about, whatever our week was, but I think that it would be more beneficial for you as the audience if we had more of a concise, focused experience. So not that you're gonna lose out on the flim flam, but the flim flam's gonna be more about like one specific thing.
Like, okay, yeah, I can see what you mean. Like, and that would also tie into like shorter episodes as well.
Yes, for sure. I think that again, my favorite part of the whole podcast to me is just the raw. This is us playing the game. I think there's a lot of content out there from people who are just better at like focusing on like the actual teaching of like what to do, or like they make lists or tips and stuff like that, but implementing them might be kind of hard, and I just kind of want to share our journey more than anything. And kind of like that raw experience of like you're playing a game every day, and it's or like every once in a while, and these are the pitfalls we do, or these are the things that we did well, and so you guys can hear that.
Yeah, I think that might like be dependent on also when there is news, especially news that's relevant to us, because we covered a whole lot of like Pasion related stuff. So, but yeah, I do like that idea. We'll see. We'll have to see how things go in the next year and what news is like.
Yes, for sure.
But yeah, I think that's our plans for next year. We mentioned doing shorter videos, right? Yeah, because that is something we want to do. So yeah.
Yes. Hopefully, we can do that.
Yes. I can't really think of anything else. Maybe remastering some of that like character creation stuff we did before, but I don't know, probably not. Because we have like a couple of like Mutants and Masterminds in Lancer. We have like very long character creation videos for those games.
Yeah.
I think it would be cooler to have like shorter versions of those, but that's not really like a priority.
Yeah, that's for sure. I think maybe when I do run Wallflower, we'll do a Lancer creation video of your character for the Wallflower campaign, and then we can knock two birds out with one stone.
That is true.
Yeah.
All right. So we've made a list of possible things. I didn't write them down because I will be writing them down a year from now and seeing if we made it. This is like a time capsule.
Yeah.
We're gonna come back to this, and hopefully, we do some or all of these things.
Oh, I want to do. Oh, I forgot. This is one more idea that I would want to do at least one video of. Is I don't know what to call it, but basically the idea is like Calvin and I will randomly generate a character, and we will both have to make a character based off of that description, and then see what we come up with. And I think that would be kind of cool, and definitely maybe at least a fun video where we get to kind of show our ideas. And I want to format it so we're both presenting like a slideshow. That's kind of what I want.
Yeah, we could do that. Yeah, like some either in Pathfinder or Lancer, or even like both.
Yeah.
Ooh. Yeah. Okay.
Lancer would be cool because we get to do like the pilot, and we have to envision what it would look like, or like maybe we'll randomly roll a couple of licenses and be like, hey, you get to choose from these licenses or whatever, and you have to put it together and make it work. I think the idea of just making it work and making it interesting is I just want to see the difference and what we decide to run this character as. And it would be kind of cool because then you guys can see our different thought processes, and maybe just use that character in your game, get some cool ideas, and it'd be kind of fun to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, yeah, and I think we talked about that before, but yeah, that is something else. As well as maybe like making episodes out of recorded versions of games, but that's another thing that we'll see, because that's another scheduling thing.
Yeah, for sure. I want more dramatic retellings. I think that's what we should do.
That is what yeah.
Yeah. Get Calvin's cool, awesome voiceover voice, and I'll make him do that. Calvin will be so busy this year, you guys. You don't even know.
You don't even know. All right. Well, we've set ourselves up. We've got a whole bunch of things that we want to do in 2024. So as we roll into the end of this episode, I want to open up the floor for people in the comments to say what they plan to do in 2024, especially things that are like sort of tabletop RPG related. Plans for maybe new games, new characters, new systems you want to play, new homebrew you want to create. What do you want to work on this year to make your dice rolling adventures even better? As we get into this, Ramon, is there anything else you want to say for people before we get into like the end of the episode here, get into all the shout outs and stuff?
Well, I want to hear from you guys. I want to hear what you want from us. I mean, we have a bunch of ideas, but you guys have good ideas too. Definitely let us know if there's anything, if you're excited for anything that we've talked about or our plans for next year. And if there's something that you guys want us to do, or maybe even some games you want us to check out, definitely let us know, and we'll see if we can put it in the schedule and actually get it done. This is the year, folks, 2024. We're gonna do all the things we said we're gonna do.
Yeah, let's just
definitely
do it.
not lying. Definitely not lying about that. Let's just do it.
I mean, it's not lying if we think it'll happen.
Yeah, I believe.
All right. Well, thanks a ton and a half, everybody out there, for listening to the Win with Dice podcast over the last year. Thanks for coming to the streams. Thanks for checking out all the other videos on the channel. Really appreciate every single minute of everybody stopping by. If you want to check out the description below, there's links to other stuff on the channel. There's also some other links to a whole bunch of Lancer writers and creators, some of whom we will hopefully have back on the channel sometime soon. And additionally, a link to the Untold Stories project, where I'm at occasionally. They have something coming up, but it hasn't been announced, so I'm not going to say what it is. But you'll see my face there quite a lot in the coming year, playing a whole bunch of different games. So go ahead, check them out, give them some love, and check out their Patreon, because I'm very... Oh, you know what? I forgot to mention, like, we can monetize the channel now. We didn't even talk about merch. We'll save that for another time.
Yeah, that's fine. We haven't figured it out yet, so we won't let you. We'll let you know when we figured it out.
True. USP, though, they have a Patreon, and they've recently ran a game for the Patreon members, and it was a whole ton of fun, so please go check them out, because they're really cool people. And that's all I have for now. Ramon, anything else before we close out the episode?
No, I think we're good to go.
All right. Well, for all of our GMs and players out there making their resolutions, just remember to keep on winning with dice. And we'll see y'all in the next year.
Bye, guys.